December 21st. I'm going to, while I talk to you at the beginning, I'm going to pull 3 advice cards for the end, as usual. We will talk about the fact, face down, please. 3 cards for Aries, advice for the week of December. Okay, face down. We'll start over. 3 cards, 3 advice cards for Aries, advice for the week of December 21st. Now, today is, or tonight, between today and tonight, or tomorrow, the winter solstice happens. So it is at the same time the darkest night and the beginning of the light, you know, so it's kind of like, I always thought that was funny, you know, that it could be both the darkest night and the thing that kicks off the creation of more light, you know? And so that sort of space and time where all is possible, where it's pure balance, where both possibilities exist. The proverbial Schrodinger's cat. Now, and it's kind of like the World card or the Wheel of Fortune, and it just reminds us that everything turns, everything moves forward. There's a season for everything, and that even the darkest moment, okay, even the darkest moment is not entirely what it seems, because it's actually giving way to light. One more, please. And so that's today. As I speak to you, the sun is still in Sagittarius. It goes into Capricorn later on today. Moon is in Libra. Venus has moved into Aquarius. I'll take that one. Venus in Aquarius, which is my Venus placement, is interested in being around friends, values friendship more than relationship, or more than emotional expression, let's say. Sapiosexual, very attracted to the mind, and to people of extreme intelligence. Also attracted by counterculture, quirky people. But yeah, I think it's a nice Venus to have around the holidays, because it's an energy that takes pleasure in being around friends and associations and associates, and sort of in being able to enjoy things with a little bit of detached energy. All right, let's get the energy for the week of December. Oh, okay. Actually, last thing. Sorry. There's a major eclipse on the day after Christmas, on Boxing Day. And I will do a reading just for that, because it's worth it. Now, the big eclipse is the big one is the next one in January. So we'll tackle that later on. But let's see what this week, the December 21st energy for Aries for the week of December 21st, what it has in store for us, please. 1 card for Aries. Okay. You know, this was the one that came out before when it flipped over. So confusion. Okay. And you know, I think this kind of relates to the solstice. I was about to say equinox, the solstice, because like I said, it's confusing, the idea to think that that the darkest night and the dawn of the light are the same thing. And so there's like a situation that may be sort of shrouded in confusion, because it's neither nor, like it doesn't have a specific form yet. It isn't bad and it isn't good yet. It's just in the process of evolving. Now let's see how this plays out. Can I get the challenge card, please, for Aries for the week of December 21st? What's the challenge for Aries for the week of December 21st? Oh, also, I'll do the Advent calendar at the end of this. I'll put a link or a timestamp in the description box. Can I get 4? Oh, interesting. What's going on, Aries? Hermit, aloneness. Okay, so some interesting vibes going into the holidays. I just said it's a good time to be around friends and enjoy that. And yet here is So this is the challenge, right? And I think that this is exactly what it is that as this confusion is starting to clear, or as you may be like immersed in confusion, there can this sense of like darkness may arise, but you see how it's equally dark and equally light. So the challenge is to be able to see the light in that darkness. And this is very much about that solstice energy, right? That they both exist at the same time. So if you're only paying attention to the dark, to direct your energies more towards this light. Otherwise, it can feel like it's engulfing you, right? You can feel sort of, what's it like when they wrap you bound, like mummified by this confusion. Maybe I'll do one of those what's blocking you readings also. This one. Okay. Let's see what else that we get here. Can I get a card for Aries for the week of December 20? Whoa. Too many. One card, please. Aries, December 21st, 2019. You know, but these are all things of the mind, right? These energies here are not real. They're things, you know, that Virgo seeks aloneness. This confusion is self-created because there's nobody else there. Okay, interesting. Look at that. A 25 and a 52. One is upright, one is the other way around. Now, this one says metamorphosis. Lovely. And this one says magical map shifter. Now, I want to read these because actually I've had this deck for like 5 years. I've never gotten this card before. So fun. So that's what I mean. So there's like an element of newness somewhere that we're not paying attention to. And this is like this duality here and the balance, right? It's that it's neither nor yet. It's in the process of becoming. Okay, let me start with this magical mystery tour card here. 52. That's not what it says. It's magical map shifter. But okay. And so the message of this one, and this came out in my reading the other day about the higher will card. This starts with saying spirit orchestrates everyone's destiny. Now, the reversed card said, okay, interesting. Reverse, the magical map shifter card may bring you the opposite of what you seek. Perhaps you're in denial about your situation and refuse to see the truth. Or maybe you've been traveling down a path that has constantly led you to a field of poppies where you fall asleep and dream of desires that never find their form. To have the life you really want, you must match its vibrational energy and resonate with this. And I'm going to pull here, I just have them off to the side, the cards from the Advent calendar, right? This one says, I can attract relationships that agree with my desires. So these are all starting to really marry together as messages. Sometimes our greatest hurts and disappointments are what awaken us to our need to shift to a higher frequency. If your heart aches because someone is breaking it, this discomfort will lead you to a more authentic life. And this also came up in the last reading, that it's hard to believe. Remember when I mentioned the Adele reference? It's hard to believe that the dark can actually be leading you to the light, but sometimes that's the way things have to go. So don't linger in the pain or blame the magical map shifter for alerting you to the illusion you clung to, which is what this confusion is. The confusion is the illusion, right? Or the illusion is the confusion. That's so philosophical. Know that treasure lies everywhere and can be recovered once you've healed the wound that is reflected in those who come to you as catalysts for growth. And I was also talking to, and here's that couple again. I was talking about some of you may be involved in soulmate relationships or twin flames. I do in quotes because I think they're all soulmates. Those people are brought to you that in those situations, there's usually someone who is very, usually two people who are very hurt. The other one's pain is more evident to us. And so we try to heal the other person. And what actually we're not paying attention to is what we are trying to heal in them is exactly what needs to be healed in us. And they are holding up this giant mirror to us so that we can see what it is in ourselves that needs to be healed. So if you are dealing with one of those, if you're spending a lot of time on YouTube trying to find out what your soulmate's up to, the divine masculine, divine feminine, blah, blah, blah. The message in that is whatever you are trying to heal in the other person is what is trying to be healed in yourself. That's how it's coming to you. See that reflection there? It's coming to you as a reflection from someone else. And the confusion around that situation is what's pushing you to discover your own destiny. Usually with those situations, it causes you to leave marriages. It causes you to change jobs. It causes you to change cities. We're all drastically transformed by the soulmate interaction. Now, if that's not happening to you, there may be a situation in dealing with this sense of loneliness or sense of isolation of not having someone to offer that. And what that is also suggesting is, that all of this dark that we may feel, look at these two cards, look at the difference in energy here, right? That there is this giant transformation. And this is kind of like, you see that like light there? It's kind of like what's waiting. So I'm trying to get rid of this reflection. It's like what's waiting there. But sometimes we have to travel through this dark to get to the light, right? Isn't that the whole Bible story? So know that treasure lies elsewhere and can be recovered once you've healed the wound that is reflected in those who come to you as catalysts for growth. Read that. As you experience yourself transforming into the highest version of yourself, you'll come to understand that you're always fortunate when you meet up with the magic map shifter. Okay, so this guy, this map shifter, and remember, didn't I talk about the world card? And there's all those aspects turning around. Somewhere this person, and it may have been in, sorry, going back to the Advent calendar here for a sec. It may be this person. Remember in the Advent calendar, I was talking about this person who doesn't want to move. So whichever sort of figure that's holding out on you isn't giving you what you want or you're, in quotes, waiting for, that person is the one who's spinning your wheel of fortune and your world card. Why? Because they're trying to get you here. That's the karmic deal that you two wrote before this incarnation. Now let's read this other metamorphosis card, and then I'll get 3 more cards. Butterflies earn their wings through great effort. I could stop there, right? The process of change is often painful, for it is never without losses and sacrifices. If you are to transform from one form to another, a part of you needs to die. Letting go isn't easy, especially when you're used to thinking a certain way about your life and how you live it. Just as a snake sheds its dead skin or a caterpillar dies so that a butterfly can be born, you're required to release your old ideas and embrace a necessary change so you can live your best life. Perhaps you're being asked to let go of low self-worth, a dream that no longer serves you, or a relationship that is draining, or unhealthy habits. Despite your fear, you must accept that this is a transformational time for you. There will be some loss involved, but you'll love what you become. So like I said, these, the confusion and the aloneness are in, and the pain is real, but there is if you focus on the light or focus on where you're headed and understand the dynamics of the situation, the dynamics of a butterfly coming through the chrysalis, you know, that it has to go through that process, then this dissipates, right? So if anyone's in that soulmate situation where they're like, why doesn't this person love me? What do I have to do? Nobody loves me. You know, if only he or she could change, if only they would heal this, that, and the other. It's time to really pay attention to the spiritual dynamics of that relationship as opposed to the relationship itself. Because the lesson, what the gift that process and that interaction wants to bring you is on the other side of both of these, right? Like you have these two cards on one side, and then you have these two cards on the other side. So they're two very different energies, and yet they both exist at the same time. And that's the confusion, that what is feeling like this tremendous darkness is actually trying to get you here. Let me get 3 more cards, and then, because this is getting a little long. All right, can I get 3 cards, please, for Aries week of December 21st? So then this week to me is really about starting to look at the difficult situations in your life with fresh eyes. I'm going to take this because it kept wanting to come out. The Hermit. Holy shit. I love it when that happens. Same card. So there it is. The Hermit's. Spiritual teaching, self-discovery, right? And it's about earning them. Remember I talked about the butterfly earning those wings, and you see here's the guy, this kind of like a morose figure, but this is the same morose figure with those wings, right? That in the process of spiritual discovery, I hate that reflection, sorry. In the process of spiritual discovery is leveling up from this sort of mortal feeling of sadness to this very divine feeling of greatness, right? It's same card, 2 different energies, but they're both right. This is one expression of it. This is a higher expression. So this whole process here is about getting you to that higher expression. 2 more cards, please, for Aries week of 21st, December 21st. You know, we have 2 7s, 2 9s. Let's see what else comes out. 2 more cards, please. Whoa, okay. Ha ha ha. 3 of Wands, 10 of Pentacles, right? So 10 of Pentacles is like this guy. So abundance, things look very good. Have patience at this time. Make long-term plans. Very happy family life, financial security, finding magic in the little things. So, and there's that word magic again. And it came up last week too. So there is, you know, it's about shedding this sort of 3D perception of what's happening to you. If you get lost in, there is a spiritual dynamic to the hardship, and that's what's asking to be seen right now, right? Like this is kind of like the bridge here of these 2 pieces, that transforming that aloneness to this sort of understanding that the way you're being pushed, the way you're feeling isolated and like you're alone in this world or completely confused and don't know what to do, is that it's meant to get you to a place where you start to grow the wings that bring you. Here's another wing. And remember, the wings keep coming up in the Advent calendar too. And it's not so, okay, so it's not just about the winged messengers coming in. It's literally about you sprouting those wings to fly, you know? And here's the 3 of Wands is ships coming in. And what kind of ships? The most you can have. This is earthly payout, right? It's an unattractive word, but this is getting everything that you desire. Richness in terms of satisfaction and security on a 3D plane. So through the spiritual process, what comes to you is this sort of what you desire, that there's a physical manifestation. That's what I meant. So this is like not just in the afterlife, it's what comes to you in a sense of abundance. But what the abundance is in the ability to look at this situation differently. If you focus on the dark, then it's gonna be dark, right? If you focus on the light, as your eyes start to focus on there, you may actually start to see different characters. Okay, let's do the advice cards. So anyway, as I said, this week I would concentrate my energy on trying to examine your difficulties in a different fashion, right? Looking at the people or the situation, all these characters and all these elements that are causing you, see he's got a blindfold on, that are causing you to feel confused, and to look at them in a different light, right? Remember, this was upright, this was flipped on its head. So instead of focusing on the dark, and even make like 2 lists, like here's all the negativity that I am currently perceiving. Now flip that into what could possibly come out of it that's positive. I'll give you another story that I was reading about the other day. There was this young girl who was she had a plan, meant to get married, found a great guy, blah, blah, blah. He left her at the altar, right? She decides to go on their round the world honeymoon alone, right? To heal herself, but also, just to, probably she didn't know what to do. So she was like, fuck it, I'll just do this. So she went on her honeymoon alone, and she took notes about things that she liked about the places, about, different, being a lone female traveler throughout the world. She comes back from this round the world trip, and she writes a book on being advice for the lone female traveler. She has an entire book series now. So again, was that guy leaving her at the altar the worst thing that happened to her, or the best thing that happened to her, right? In this light and dark, all possibility exists. It's up to us to flip it on its head. And remember, I was saying it's not necessarily about making a choice, but almost sort of unconsciously moving forward towards something that speaks to us, that through the path of following what is deepest in our heart, what most resonates with us, that's when the road rises up to meet us. So this woman didn't take the trip, he's not going to marry me, I'm going to write a series of books on this. She went and she did what she loved, and then when she came back, then she was like, hey, wait a second, that experience, I can do that. I can do this with that experience. Now remember, the nodes move backwards through our life, so we only understand things in retrospect. So if you're confused, the only solution is to keep going forward, because the situation itself will start to reveal itself as you move along the path, right? But if you stay stuck, nothing moves. That's the only guarantee that we can continue to stay in this space. See, she's mummified. If there's no movement, then this situation persists. There has to be some sort of direction, even if you don't know where the path leads. What the cards keep telling us the last couple of weeks is that even if you don't know where the path leads, we're being protected by the divine, and it will reveal itself at the right time, because there is a very strong change that's happening, and it's being brought to us through these situations that create conflict, or that create difficulty for us. Okay, enough. Let's do the advice cards. 54. Know your worth. That's a 9, so this is the third 9 on the table. Let me read this here. I haven't seen Skunk Spirit yet. That's quite funny. But Okay. So what do you value? What do you believe in? Is your best, most authentic self on display? Skunk spirit comes as a reminder that you can be proud of who you are and what you have accomplished. Know your worth. Not everyone will agree with you or share your values, but you can walk with your head high, knowing that when you express your integrity, others can feel your authenticity and will be inspired by it. Be who you are, and if your reputation precedes you, good. You have so much to be proud of, and Skunk Spirit wants you to be your best self, the true you. That's quite funny. All right, what's this one? Groundhog Spirit. Time to let go, 31. And that's interesting because, you know, Groundhog, when I think of Groundhog, I always think of Groundhog Day. Best movie ever. Love you, Bill Murray. That's this. You know, it's like repeating and repeating and repeating. Now let's see this one. 31. Endings lead to beginnings, and death is a part of life. So Groundhog Spirit is here to let you know that it's time to accept the natural ending of something that is no longer serving you. We love to hold on to what is familiar, but the new needs space to arrive so growth can occur. When Groundhog Spirit appears, it is a sign that there is something in your present situation that you need to let go of so that something new can be born, something that will far better serve you now. When the groundhog sees his shadow, he retreats to his den. So too might you yearn for a little more time to say goodbye. Maybe that's that. And transition to, sorry, I lost it. Oh, and transition into the new. However, change is coming and it is good. So let go of your resistance. Spring brings many blessings, and what must die will always be reborn in a new form that will be right for you. Life requires change and detachment. Say farewell to whatever once served you and get ready for something amazing to take place. Spirit is already sending it your way. Awesome. That's, you know, that's very much in line with what the cards here say. And the last one, Porcupine Spirit. Time for a beginner's mind. That's my hippie porcupine. I like that guy. Here we go. When Porcupine Spirit calls your name, you are asked to adopt a beginner's mind and to approach situations with innocence and curiosity. The old confining stories no longer have a hold on you. So these all very much are all sort of about adaptation and change and authenticity. So, you know, so the story is clear for the last couple of weeks. But continuing here. So life is full of surprises hiding in plain sight. Look at the world afresh with new eyes. Can help you find what you've been seeking, whether it's a relationship, an opportunity, or evidence that you have all you need right now to co-create what you desire. Who knew? Porcupine asks you to be playful and have a childlike curiosity. There's so much waiting for you that you have yet to discover. Okay, so very cool. This is all very much in line. If you're feeling bound by a situation, don't know what to do, the advice is to keep moving forward, okay? Keep moving forward in a way that's authentic, right? That's true to you, true to your beliefs, because that's when your wings sprout, right? And even if things don't make sense to you right now, there is higher power at work that is spinning the wheel in your favor, right? This is what's happening. And so right now you're undergoing this metamorphosis, which may come through the reflection of someone else into you, right? You may be learning as a result of someone else's presence whispering in your ear. But it's also about the ability to see past the dark and to focus on the light. So there is a shift in perspective that's required. To look at the dynamics of the situation from a different point of view, from more of a self-centered point of view. It's not about, the situation is not about the other person, it's about you. Whatever situation is causing you challenge is there to hold up a mirror so that you can see what's being transformed. And if you focus on the light, what ends up being visible is really, I mean, look at the difference in these cards. So this is the challenge, and this is the outcome. Okay? Have a great week. I will talk to you at the eclipse. For those of you who celebrate, very, very happy Christmas. And I'll see you on the 26th. Take care. Hey guys, here to do the Advent calendar. I'm going to do the 20th, 21st, and the 22nd. Just because. So this one is movement, a 10. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn them all over since I've decided to wait. Obviously, that's the reason. Hope, love, and acceptance. Love is yours. Recognize your divine worth, which came out also in the weekly just a second ago. And then this card, okay, in all full disclosure, because this is my Dutch card, I had to look this one up just now. So this is, I didn't see these two before though. This one is a simplicity card, and it talks about taking time to evaluate what's working, what's not working, right? Is there a relationship in your life that's stressing you? Have you taken on too much work? Like, what is the actual, going into what the actual cause of any distress is, which is what came out in the weekly just a second ago. Now, so did these, right? That there is movement, and tremendous lotus opening, you know. So as we move forward, what we hope to see is actually what comes forward. Now, this card, I don't know if you remember seeing it before, but the wind, it has a windmill on its back, right? Can you see that? Let me see if I can focus better. It has a little windmill on its back, which means that as it moves forward, it creates the energy, the wind, the power necessary to propel it forward, right? And that was kind of one of the things that keeps coming up again, is that yes, there is a time that there's two sort of dynamics going on. That there's one which is to sort of take a very objective look at what's working, what's not working, right? And to pay attention to what's going on in your head, to listen to look at things in a different manner, take a step back and really analyze what's going on, to understand the dynamics and to listen to the words that are coming from the people that you interact with, because there may be some messages in there that will help bring you into balance, or that will help balance out how you see the situation. And this information might be coming also from the divine, because the confusion is over. What is it, right? Is this daisies or are they roses? Is the snake green or red? So there is a confusion as to the duality of a situation, right? Or which is the right choice. And as it keeps coming up again and again in the readings, is that what's happening right now in our lives is sort of out of our control. And you may remember this Duchamp card. It's not necessarily something that we may ever be able to perceive the full impact of our choices, of what we do, but that's part of the plan, the process, and that the best way to move forward is to consistently behave in a way that is authentic to us, that makes us sing with joy, and that as we do that, the road, and this came from the reading last week, rises up to meet us. And I mentioned in the reading a minute ago, things become clear as we look at them from a distance, right? And so this suggests to get a little bit more mental clarity, like apply objective mental thinking and boil things back down to their basics, right? So if the situation seems very convoluted and complicated and you can't see which way is out. The question may not be, is the snake green or is the snake red? But A, do I want a snake? And B, what color snake do I actually desire? What color snake am I hoping to see, right? So it may not even be a question of a choice of these two. There may be a third. It may be, again, that you're trying to pick these, but you don't want either one. So it's not about which is the right way to do, but if I could do everything, like if I could do what I really wanted and what I really hoped for, if I was going after what I really, really hoped for, this is the simplicity card, what are the most basic steps that I would take, right? Very simply that. So it's not a question of necessarily confusion. I don't know, should I stay, should I go, should I move, should I not move? But if I removed all of these confusing elements around me and choose to look at the situation from a completely different perspective, right? From a much higher perspective, what would I do? What would be the first 10 steps I would take to going towards what absolutely lies as my deepest hope in my heart that makes me sing like a canary, right? and what most resonates with me, because that's when it's going to start coming in. Okay, so this feeds very nicely into this weekly reading. Actually, this is really, really tight. Very simple analysis. What do I hope for? What am I what do I want? Simply, what do I hope for my own life? What makes me blossom? And what are the steps that I need to take to get there? Okay, we have 2 more cards. I'm super curious to see how it ends. I know it's hard to believe, but I do not turn these over because I'm just as curious as all of you. I had to turn this one over because otherwise we'd be translating in direct and that would be boring. But everything else I do as I watch with you. So we have 2 more cards. We'll be looking at them on Monday and Tuesday. Take care. Have a great week. Or see you Monday.